Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and maybe a slight return to normality for me today. But who knows? When you get a puzzle by 99% Sneaky who very much lives up to their name, you don't quite know what to expect. This puzzle's called Lilliputian Arrows, so I think we're conjuring up the picture of Gulliver tied down by loads of arrows with strings on and shot through with these tiny little arrows. It's brilliant. Anyway, it's a nice idea. The arrows are quite short in this puzzle. That much we're being told. So give it a go if you fancy it. I'm going to mention quite a few things going on at the moment. So an update to Sudoku Pad, I believe that's out. Now, coming out in 2 days, we also have the rather brilliant Lines and Shapes. That's going to be the September Patreon monthly reward. Now, until yesterday, it was 6 puzzles. It's now 7. 7 Lines and Shapes puzzles to firstly celebrate in advance the fact that we believe our line app will be coming out in September at some point, and that has got some fantastic line-based puzzles in it. So things like palindromes and German whispers and Renban lines and all sorts, basically, quite a few other variants as well. We think that that's going to be great fun. Equal Sum Lines, one of my favourite. That features heavily in the app and also in the Patreon reward as well. So loads going on there. And also the Lines and Shapes reward. The shapes part is about one of our items of merchandise, a cap featuring our hexagonal logo. And that is our newest merchandise available. We will be giving away one of those to the winner who gets drawn at random at the end of the competition period. So do check us out on Patreon. It's a great resource for further stuff there. Loads of content always, and we strongly recommend it. We would. And what else we got going on? Well, the apps, as well as the Line app that doesn't exist yet. There are 8 apps that do. You can find them again by following the links under the field, in the description field, etc. So do check them out. There's lots of ways to engage with the channel. But one of them is to play this puzzle. And the rules are these. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So we're going to be putting 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box in this grid, if we can. Digits along an arrow sum to the digit in the attached circle. So those 2 add up to that one, as do those 2. Cages show their sums. So a few little killer cages. That's the rules. Very simple. Simply stated. Who knows whether the puzzle is? I'm going to start now, see how we go. Let's get cracking. So, we have, I normally look at a density of arrows within a certain row, column or box. And maybe focus on that. Okay, down here, for instance, in box 9, the most these 2 arrows can add up to, these could both be 9s in the circles, so the digits on the arrows could add up to 18. Plus 5 there in that cage would be 23 for these 6 highlighted cells. Now that makes the others have a minimum of 22. And I was about to very sagely opine that therefore they must have a 9 in these 3 cells, when I've suddenly realised that's totally obvious from the fact that 9 can't go on a 2-cell arrow or in a 5 cage. So I didn't learn much there. Let's have a look at this row, which also looks interesting to me. Now, let's say that 9 is the minimum there. 9 is the minimum there. That's 18. 6 is obviously the number here. So we're on a 24 minimum. And that means, doesn't it, that these cells add up to at least 21. And I'm using a secret that I haven't shared with you yet, but you may know, if you've followed the channel before, or if you've solved a killer Sudoku, or indeed almost any other variant type, that one of the features of these puzzles is that every row, column and box adds up to the same total. We always know what that total is, and it is 45. So this row adds up to 45, and if we're saying the minimum of these is 18, and that equals 6, that's a minimum of 24. These therefore have a maximum of 21. And I mean, I suppose, assuming that was a 9 and that was an 8, this has a minimum of 4. Which is, I mean, that's not uninteresting, because this must now be at least 5. But it's not totally interesting. Oh, right, now, look, there is a constant pattern here. Oh, look at this. What I'm going to highlight in green. Yeah, that's interesting. In each of these boxes, there are 2 arrows and a 9 cage. Now, not all of these circles can be a 9. That's interesting. What is the lowest number you could put in one of these circles? I think it's 6, and I think that because if you were to put a 5 in one of these circles, yes, these arrows could be 1, 2, 3, and 4, but then you couldn't make up a sum of 9 because it needs one of those low digits in a sum of 9. So every one of these arrows has to be at least a 6, and this is a 6, 7, 8, 9 set. And one of them is a 6, and the one that is a 6 will have 1, 2, 4, 5 on the arrow, and 3, 6 in the 9 cage, and the other cells in the box will be 7, 8, 9. How do we find out which one? I bet there's a way. Or do I need to think about the fact that one of them is a 7? These will add up to 14, the 9 cage will take it up to 23, and these other cells will add up to 22. No, I think I need to find where the 6 is. This is not the 6, because that would take 3 of, there are 4 possible digits that make up 2 cell totals of 6. And this row would need to use 5 of them, i.e. it would need to use 1 and 5, 2 and 4, and another one of those again, and that's not allowed. So, this is not the 6. No, that doesn't seem likely to apply anywhere else, because I can't see any other 6 cages. But it's interesting because oh, that is very interesting. Right, if this was the 6 cage, having ruled out that from being a 6, this gets very interesting. If that was a 6 cage, these cells would be 7, 8, and 9. We worked that out because these would be 1, 2, 4, 5. That would be a 3, 6 pair. These would be 7, 8, and 9. And in this row then, you'd now have 7, 8, and 9 in those 3 cells, and there's nothing to put in this cell because 6 was postulated here. So that's not a 6. So now 6 is in one of these 2. Can we do that again down here? I think we probably can. If that was a 6, 1, 2, 4, 5 there, 3, 6 there, 7, 8, 9 here, and again in this row now, you've got a 7, 8, 9 triple, and that can't be filled because we postulated the 6 there. So 6 is not there, and we've discovered where 6 is. It's down here on the south side, pointing at box 8. Those are 1, 2, 4, 5. That is a 3, 6 pair. Now, that gets quite interesting. This is 7, 8, or 9, which gives us a triple. I like that, but also this can't be 9 because of its arrow status. That is 7 or 8. That's 1 or 2. This is 8 or 9. We've got this 7, 8, 9 triple, which says that one of these two is a 9, and that isn't in the central box. We've got 7, 8, and 9 in this triple. Now, can we use the 7, 8, 9 triple here? That is not 7 or 8 anymore. This is 4, 5, or 6. We worked that out by an early consideration of row 3. This could be anything up to 5 now. Now, is there any way of doing the same trick again? I don't think so. 7 gives 2 extra degrees of freedom into the box, so... Oh, does it? I don't know. Oh, look, there's a 15 cage here. Right, that sorts out the 15 cage, because now it can't be a 7-8 cage or that cell would break. Look at that. That's a 6-9 cage. We get 8 here. That determines its whole arrow. Suddenly I've quadrupled the number of full digits I have in the grid, and it gets better. That 7 is looking at those 2 circles, makes that a 7. Now, if that's 1, 6, and 2, 5, then you can't fill this. 1, 2, 5, and 6 uses 1 each of the numbers from the 4 possible pairs that makes 9. So one of these is a 3, 4 pair. And this is made up using either a 1 or a 2. It's either 1, 8 or 2, 7. And there's one way around 2, 7 can't be. And these use a 3, 4 pair and either 1, 6 or 2, 5. So 9 is in one of these cells. That's... Anyway, let's go back down here. 6, 9, 7, we know what this is. This is an 8. That's a 9 for the box. So that 8 came from considering the row. That 9 comes from considering this box. Now, this cannot be a 3, 6 pair or a 1, 8 pair. That is 2, 7 or 4, 5. This 5 pair hasn't really got established, actually. It could, well, okay, it's either 1, 4 or 2, 3. I mean, that's obvious, and maybe it's not worth filling those in, but it's quite interesting, because this either uses a 4 or a 2, and this either uses a 4 or a 2. And therefore, 2 and 4 must get used up between those pairs in this box. And this arrow can't contain 2 or 4. What does that mean for it? If it didn't have a 1, it would have to be a 3, 6 pair. I wonder if there's a way of knowing that it has to have a 1. I'm not sure enough. Okay, what else can I do in the puzzle generally? Because I hadn't looked at that 15 cage. Maybe it's this 6 cage. Or maybe it's this whole row again. That might be worth, well, if I could limit that to being the 8. Maybe the row would be more interesting. This is now 8 or 9. Right, if it's 8, that is 3 or 4. If it's 9, this is 4, 5, or 3. Wow, so that's quite limited. But again, not very conclusive. This is either a 4, 5 or a 3, 6. No, it could add up to 8, so it's not necessarily a 4, 5 or a 3, 6 pair. These 14, 23, these add up to 22. If they were 9, 6, 7, you'd have a 6 here and a 9, 7 pair. That would be 8. That would be quite helpful, but alternatively they're 9, 8, 5. In which case we get a 9, 8, 5 triple in the row. Oh, let's do Sudoku. 8 and 8 gives us an 8 down here. Now this is either 2, 2, 7, 1, 4, 8. then we'd be making this up from 3, 5, 6, 9. That would have to be a 3, 6 pair and a 9. The alternative, so I'm just going to ink that in. The alternative is that this is 4, 5, that's 2, 3, 8. Then we're making this up from 1, 6, 7, 9. The only way to do that is a 1, 6 pair, making 7. So there's definitely a 6 in that pair, and this is 9 or 7. And we either had 1, 6, 7, which left a 9 here. That's impossible because of the 6, 9. Oh, the 6, 9 tells me that there is a 9 in this cell. Ugh. Right, so I think this always has to be a 3, 6 pair. I see. Oh, that took me a while, sorry. So this can't be 3, 2, that's 1, 4. Now this can't be 4, 5, that's 2, 7. This has become a 5 by default. And this is now a 2, and this is a 3 to complete the row, apart from the pairs we've got. I take 2 out of those. In fact, that becomes a 4 on the arrow. This is a 1, 5 pair. Now, what's that done looking up the grid? Oh, if I knew there was a 5, 2 pair in one of those arrows, that would be incredibly helpful. Oh, this can't be a 9 anymore. So where's 9 in this row? There were only 2 possible cells for 9, so it's got to go in there. Now what? Let's imagine that's an 8. So those add up to 16, plus 9 is 25, plus 6 is 31. These would add up to 14, which could be a pair of adding to 8 with a 6, or a pair adding to 9 with a 5. Now, alternatively, that could be a 7. 14, 29, these would add to 16. That's too much. There's no way to do that. Unless I've missed out a possibility of that being an 8. No, it can't be, because it's looking at a 9, 8 pair. I haven't. Okay, this can't be as low as 7, because these would add up to 14, plus those is 29. These would have to add up to 16, with that pair being 8 or 9. This would have to be 8 or 7, but that's too high. And if this went lower, that height problem gets bigger. So this is an 8. That was quite complicated. Probably. Oh, let's use something simpler. 8 looking at this box. So we get 2, 7 there. Now, these are made up not with 2, 5, so with 1, 6 and 3, 4. This is a 5, 8, 9 set. Now, what that was going to tell us, sorry, let's get those right, is that we've got a 5, 8, 9 triple here and a 6. So these are from 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Now, what's the pair making 8 or 9? Well, you can't get there unless you use the 7. So it's either 7, 1 or 7, 2. And then this doesn't have a 7. This is 8 or 9. If it was 8 using 7, 1 there, this would be a 6, 2 pair because it couldn't use a 3. If it was 9 using 7, 2, this couldn't use 1, 2 or 3 and would be a 4, 5 pair. I'm sure there's something much easier going on now. I just have to bide my time and spot it. I'm not sure. I can't see what is obviously going on. Okay, where's 9 in this box? It's got to be there, hasn't it? Yes. Where's 8 in this box? Because we've got that 8, 9 pair and an 8 there. 8 is in one of those cells. Along with 1, 3 or 5. Now I wonder if that tells me what this is by maths. 9, 8, 1 plus a 9. Okay, well what we've got here is 9 and 9. Those are 18 plus the 8 here is 26. Then we're going to add 1, 3 or 5 to get to 27, 29 or 31, leaving these to add up to 18, 16, one of which is true, or 14, which is not true because that can't be a 7. So this is either 8, 1 or 8, 3, if I've got that the right way round. If it was 8, 1, 9, 18, 27, these add up to 18, yes, that would be a 9. Okay, so this is either 8, 1 or 8, 3. Now this 8 pair, that can't be 5, 3 because of this. If it was 1, 7, that becomes a 1, that's a 6. If it was 2, 6, that's a 7. Okay, I can't do that either yet. Oh, let's just go back to this row for a second. 16, 25, 31. These add up to 14, and that's either 8 or 9. This is now either 6 or 5. It's not a 4. And therefore, this is either... Oh, there's a 2 possibility here that I didn't pencil mark in. 6, 2. I wonder if I did my sums wrong earlier. I'm going to add that now, just in case I did. I don't think I've used that in any way. I thought this was going to get a lot easier. Now, in this row, we've got a 2, 7 pair still to go in. That means this is a 5, 4 pair. I don't think that's actually going to do anything. This can't be a 1. Because of this cell, 1, 3, 8, 9. Oh, maybe I know what this pair is. Or, if this was 1, 5, that would have to be 2, 6. And this would be impossible, based on the work I've done. And that was adding up this row. These would be 3, 4, 7. None of those pairs make up 8 or 9. Right, so that's a 2, 4 pair. This is now not 2, 6 specifically. This is either 1, 7 or 3, 5. Now what does that 2, 4 pair do? That puts 2 and 4 in these cells. They can't both be on this arrow because that's not a 6. So this is going to have to be either 2 or 4. And again, unless my pencil marking is wrong, and I am a bit scared about how I've pencil marked this now I look at it. I had that 5, 8, 9. These were from 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. And I determined that on this arrow we couldn't... Yes, okay, that pencil marking was fine. So there's a 2 there. There's a 4 on this arrow. And that actually in itself means that that is a 4, 5 pair making 9. That's become a 7, which I think actually was mandated by that arrow's 2 anyway. That is now a 1 or a 3 to go with a 6 or 8. Up in this column we have a 6, 7 pair. 9, 2, 4. 1, 3, 5, 8 there. 9, 8, 2, 4. I still can't do anything new with this row. That has become an 8 though. So this is either 5, 3 or 6, 2. 8, 9, 7. We need a 4 in the column. 2, 4, 9, 8. Right, now is this 3, 5 or 1, 7? Don't know. This doesn't have an 8 or a 9 in it, so it's either 7, 3 or 6, 4. I'm really still not done with this puzzle yet. So strange. That is either 1, 7 or 2, 6. Come on, man. 1, 7 or 2, 6. There must be something that gets it done. Oh, 9 can't be there and is in the center here. And 9, 6, 8, 7. We don't know what that is. This is odd. Oh, that's quite interesting. Yes, this is odd because it sees 2, 4, 6 and 8 there maybe. So these are odd. And that means this is a 1, 3, 5, 7 set. And that's a 6. 2 there. Does that 2 feed somewhere? Takes 2 out of that cell. That's all it does. 2, 9. 1 or 3 is used here. Right, where's 7 in this box? It's got to be in that arrow. So that's a 7-1 arrow. This is a 3-5 arrow. They don't have a 1 in. I could have worked that out from the maths once I got the 8 there. I forgot to do that maths. This is a 5-4 pair. There's no 5 in those cells. The 3-8 pair, this has become a 1. This column is useful. That's a 5. That fixes 4-5. 7, 5, 6, 8, 9. There's a 4 in one of those two cells in this box, so that's not a 4. Now, can I do this column? Probably 3 or 6, yes, 1 and 5. So columns 4 and 6, equally helpful. 2, 3, 4 up the middle needs a 2 in the center and 3 or 4 there. Now that 3 or 4 is very useful because it stops this being a 3-4 arrow, makes this a 3-4 arrow instead. That becomes a 1 in this row. There's an 8. What a clever puzzle this has been. Really interesting. 3, 4. This is a 9-3 pair that will get sorted out in a moment. That's a 6. And that's going to start doing all the sorting out. In fact, it gets to that 9-3 pair very quickly. They can't have a 3 in. These can't have a 1 or an 8. So we get a 3 in the corner, proving its position. There it is, having a little confetti party. 2-7 is done. 2-4 is done. 4-5 is done. And I feel like I'm on the home stretch at least now. 8-3 is done here, which sorts out 8-1, and that can't be a 1. 5-8-2-9-3. Now, this can't have a 3 in there, so that's a 4-6 pair. 1 there, 7 there, 7 here, 6 there. That works. 9 and 2. Now, I'm going to use that 7 to disambiguate these final rows, I think. Oh, well, let's do column 7 first. Then the 7, oh, it's not the 7, I'm going to use the 8. 8-5, 5-3, 3-6, 6-4, and 4-1. That's lovely. That's a really neat puzzle. Great fun. Not 100% sneaky, just 99% sneaky today. Very clever. Lovely patterning. These green areas were, I'm going to say, well, they're necessary to spot to really enjoy the beauty of the puzzle. That is how I will put it. Really good stuff. Thank you as always for watching us on the channel. Don't forget that patron reward coming out in 2 days' time. And we will see you again tomorrow for more Sudoku. Bye for now.